Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan here with Lister Pros TV, and today we're on another segment of Real Estate Pros. This time we have Doug Young with TCT Real Estate in the studio. Thanks for joining us in the studio, Doug.
Thanks for having me.
And for those that don't know who you are, we'll give you a couple minutes to introduce yourself. How long you been in real estate, where you come from, blah.
Okay.
That commercial for Doug.
Perfect. Again, my name's Doug Young. I'm the designated broker for TCT Real Estate. I've been in the real estate business for about 11 years. Came from Seattle, so don't hold that against me. I'm still a Seahawks fan, and the Cardinals are great too, although they both suck this year, but let's hope that they all do better. So anyways, and I think, just a little background on me. I came from an outside sales background before I got into real estate, but always had a bend towards technology. So that's something my business partner and I have really kind of focused on, especially coming from Seattle, dealing with Microsoft and Amazon clients.
There are so many companies and even disruptors in real estate that are from Seattle.
Yeah, Redfin, Zillow. I mean,
they're all out there. Like, something's going on out there.
Yeah, and that probably got us to think a little more forward from a technology perspective.
Sure.
So we've been obviously working and perfecting our platform over the last 10 plus years. So.
That's awesome. So how long have you been here in Arizona? Talk to us a little bit about your brokerage, because you mentioned earlier that you're out in California, so you have kind of a different dynamic to your business.
Yeah, we're multi-state. We started in Seattle. We've got about 9 offices up there. We've got 4 offices currently in the Valley, and then we've got 1 office in San Diego and 1 office in Denver.
Oh, wow.
So
not a small operation. You probably spend a lot of time managing.
Yeah, a lot of time managing, answering questions for agents.
Sure.
Working with the support people, because that's one of the big things that we focus on is support for our agents and our customers.
Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about leveraging technology for agents and customers, and that's something you guys kind of specialize in from a company standpoint, and the value that you bring to your agents. So let's begin talking about agent support that you guys offer.
Yeah, when we first started, we started with one of the big box companies up in the Northwest, that are similar to the Remaxes, the Century 21s, and it was a great experience. But we were saying, hey, the market's starting to shift. You started to see, Zillow was becoming more prevalent, the Redfins of the world, and we're going, customers are looking for more. So what we started to look at is saying, how can we leverage technology to really serve 2 purposes? The first one was to increase communication and information flow to the client. Because when you go to Redfin, we had people walking into our open houses with these spreadsheets that would have like 10, 12 homes on them. They knew the price per square foot, how many days had been on the market. And we're going, wow, there's a real shift happening here. People were flocking to that because they want information. So we said, well, let's try to be open-handed with the information too. Let's try to give the consumer what they want. Let's try to increase information flow to them, so when we're marketing their home, they know what's going on. And then on the other side, we said we need to leverage technology for our agents, because most agents, while they know they need to leverage technology and use technology to help grow their business, most of them don't have either the financial resources to do it or the technical expertise to do it. So what we said is, well, let's create a platform that allows them to leverage off what we're building so that they can focus on what they're good at, which is working with the customers, building the relationships, and growing their business. And then we'll take that piece off of their plate and handle and manage it for them.
So that makes a lot of sense, because being in real estate, there's a lot of great salespeople in the real estate industry, but that doesn't necessarily make them very good at the paperwork and the other things, or building out MLS. I think agents thrive the best when they can focus on what they do best.
Correct. And that's kind of what we thought, is we said, you know what? We know all this stuff needs to be done. The MLS needs to be loaded, virtual tours need to be built, websites need to be built, Facebook marketing needs to happen. All that stuff needs to happen, but is that the highest and best use of an agent's time? So we said, if we can build a platform and a support team that takes that off their plate, when they have a listing or something they're working on, they can hand it off to us. Our team can go to work, and then, like you said, they can focus on what they do best.
So how is it managed at TCT Real Estate? Do you guys have like a support team at every office? Is it handled like centrally by one office?
We've actually got support staff both in Arizona and in Washington, but our platform is integrated. So if they get jammed up there, we can backfill down here. If we get jammed down here, we can backfill with them up there. We have transactional support staff both in all of our markets, and then we have the marketing support staff out of our main office in Seattle.
Awesome. So, man, that's awesome. So we're talking about specific. So, what specific technologies do you guys offer for real estate agents that are new that makes their lives a little bit easier?
Really, what we focus on is saying, okay, number one, when they launch a listing, because obviously we all know that signs and sticks in the ground, that's what generates the buyer leads. So we tried to look at things and say, okay, well, what's everybody doing? Okay, well, now most people are building websites, and even guys like you, when you do photos, you're offering virtual tour technology and those types of things. And we had a lot of outside third parties that we were working with. And what we said is, well, we need to try to consolidate that. So what we've done is build out most of that technology into one platform that the agent has access to. So when they go in and they've got a listing in our back office, they can see the hits that are being driven from the direct feeds to Zillow. We pay for placement on Zillow and Truly and Yahoo, so we can track those things back to the property's website. We do retargeting. So every one of our listings gets sets up on a retargeting program. So when somebody looks at the listing, when they go to Facebook, or if they're going to, surfing Google, we're reserving them up ads to try to drive them back to those properties. We use like what we call, I guess, is a marketing board, which is really more of a permanent flyer. Because when somebody comes to the house too, we're like, you know what? They don't want to just see a sign. We want to give them some information. Flyers are kind of passe now, so what we've created is what we call a marketing board, which is a commercially printed sign with the photos. When we hire guys like you to do professional photos, we'll give them kind of a sneak peek of the inside of the house. But then we also give them a text code so they can text for information. There's a QR code so they can scan and get the mobile property website, and there's the agent's contact information so they can reach out if they want to. So we try to make it easy for clients and buyers to get access, but also that will help drive more leads for the agents as well.
So for every single listing, if I get this right, you're doing custom signs
Yes.
on the signposts?
Yes, that's correct.
Man, that's awesome. I like that. I always like to see, when you're driving by, something that catches your eye. Like Chris Prickett was on the show. He kind of has like some different colors. There's just different agents that do different things to kind of get attention. But that's super relevant to the house. Get a preview and maybe drive more interest in that house.
Exactly. I mean, it's, when I first got down here, I drive through the neighborhood, I'm like, sign. I'm like, I'm like, how are they making it easy? Because again, that was one of the things when we talked to buyers and sellers really up in Seattle, when Redfin and Zillow, they're like, we want information, and we don't like the fact that the real estate industry kind of keeps everything close to the vest. We're like, you got to pick up the phone and call them in order to get info. Now, obviously, from an agent's perspective, you want to be able to connect with those interested buyers, but you have to present the information in a non-threatening way.
Sure.
So by letting them see kind of maybe 5 or 6 photos of the inside, now they can text for information, and now they've got the mobile website where they can see the virtual tour, they can see all the photos, they can see all the community stats, the information on the schools. And that's one of the other things we tell sellers is, we're not just selling your home. We're also selling your community, we're selling your neighborhood, we're selling the school systems, so it has to be delivered in kind of a complete package.
So you probably were working in real estate before all that technology was around to do all these customizations and stuff. Out of curiosity, what have you seen tangible result differences from when you have a standard real estate sign that just says for sale and as a phone number on it versus a custom sign with text sign writers and a custom website?
Yes, because we can track everything back to that property's website. I mean, you get the standard syndication stuff, but when you put that out there and have all of that link back, and that's the thing, one of the things we've also done is saying, if we're going to do something, we need to be able to track to make sure that results are there. And when we first started doing this, we got about 3 times as many clickbacks to that property's website by doing that custom sign than by just doing the standard MO,
sign.
and even using paper flyers.
So did you had the text codes and stuff on it? It was more interest just based on 3 times the interest by swapping out for a custom sign.
For a custom sign versus a standard paper flyer.
Oh, gotcha.
So we even before when we were testing it, we always had full color paper flyers. So it wasn't like there was nothing there. And even with a full color paper flyer that had the website on it, when we went to this new sign, and I think part of that is the migration to mobile. When people show up, they're like, hey, I've got my phone. I can text for some information, or I can use my QR scanner, which maybe a lot of people, we probably see 90% text, maybe 10% QR scanner. But it's all about giving them options. So if I'm saying you can scan, you can text, you can call the agent, there's the property, the custom website address that we build is on the flyer as well. There's multiple ways for them to get access to the information.
Awesome. Wow, that's interesting results because I think it's dwindling away, but I don't see too often where there's a whole lot of flyers. I think people are just like, flyers may not be the most effective in 2017.
They're really not.
People would just pull up Zillow or something and find their location, and they pull up the information that way, maybe. But the transition is interesting to the sign and how it's driving more results.
Well, and part of it is too is it's also making the seller feel like you're doing something to market their home. Because, you're right. Somebody could show up and say, hey, I'll just pull this thing up on Zillow. I'll use my geolocation and pull up the listing, which they can do that. But
it won't have them stop the car, So people are driving through the neighborhood, they see a custom sign, they're like, hey, wait a minute, this house has some nice upgrades on the inside.
Absolutely. So, and then the other piece of it is from the seller side is when you go into a listing presentation, it's like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm not just going to stick a sign in your ground. On the ground, we're going to build you this custom sign that has photos of your property. It's going to have your website address. It's going to have all my contact info so they can get a hold of me, but there'll be a text code, a QR code. Now it's like you're telling the seller, I'm working hard to market your home. We're not just going to do the old sign in the ground. Now we're going to work harder and try to drive more traffic.
Out of curiosity, how much do those custom signs cost, more or less? Are they printed on the corrugated plastic?
No,
usually?
it's actually like a foam core. It's a commercially printed sign. The company we use is up out of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, nice.
And then we just get the sign overnighted either to the agent or to the seller. It already comes pre-drilled with 2 screws. It goes right on.
That's super.
So again,
simple.
we try to make it as turnkey as possible for the agents, but also for the customers as well.
Man, that's awesome. So we talked about leveraging technology, primarily on the agent side of things. Let's turn it to the customers, because you also make the experience better for the customers. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, again, when we first started, people are like, oh, I want to be on Zillow. And we're like, well, everybody's going to put you on Zillow, but are they paying to put you on Zillow? Now, of course, Zillow, when you pay them the big money for those, premier agent programs, you get so many featured listings. But as a brokerage, we went to Zillow and said, well, we want to put all of our listings in featured place, because really at the end of the day, we know trying to compete against Zillow or Realtor.com for that page 1 placement on Google, if somebody's searching Chandler Real Estate or Gilbert Real Estate, to try to compete for that page 1 listing is going to be very difficult. So what we've said is, okay, you know what? We'll focus our SEO on the local, community-based stuff, and then we'll leverage Zillow for their placement. So when somebody goes to Chandler Real Estate and they click and they jump over to Zillow, now our listing's on page 1. And a good example of this, we had a client from Microsoft that his listing went live. And of course, up there, they're on it right away. So he's all of a sudden calling my agent saying, hey, I'm on page 7, what's going on? So he's calling me and I'm like, okay, well, let me call Zillow and find out what's up. There was a problem with our XML feed. So they reset our XML feed. The next day, he was on page 1, position 5.
So does Zillow, and that's interesting. I'm not too deep into how agents can Zillow. I know there's the premier agents and different things, and we deal on the back end with their video. Like right now, if you do walkthrough videos, you're getting 2 times the views of not having those. But do they function like PPC in Google as well? Do they have an ad product like that as well of how to get on like first page and stuff like that?
Well, it's really more the featured, which they give the featured listings to their premier agents.
Oh, gotcha.
But and we had some of our agents that were paying the big money to Zillow. But when you start to get up to $900, $1,200, $1,500 a month, they're starting to go, okay, well, am I getting is this really a return on is the ROI there? And what we said is, well, we're just going to approach Zillow and see what kind of a program we can create for them where we can just send our listings direct. And then when they get anything within our feed, automatically becomes featured on Zillow.
Interesting. So what other, how do you guys manage the customer experience from a TCT real estate perspective?
Well, when we first started, again, we worked for a larger firm, and and this is typical of most brokerages. They're like, hey, you as the agent, you go out there and service your clients, and we're the place to hang your license. And what we said is, well, if somebody's dealing with a newer agent that maybe isn't as experienced, why should their customer experience with our company suffer because maybe the agent doesn't know or doesn't have the ability to deliver on the same platform? So what we said is, let's as a company deliver a platform so that the customer experience is consistent. So when they go in, so when an agent goes in and presents their listing presentation, they have their own personality and things that they're going to do that they're going to bring to it, but 80 to 90% of it the company provides. So then we can make sure that customer gets a consistent experience throughout the transaction.
That's interesting. So so you're focused on getting that customer experience dialed in on your guys' end.
Yes.
And not leaving it all up to the real estate agent.
Right. And not just even the experience, but even the marketing and the technology. Because, it's taken us years to put what we've got together and for an agent to try to go out and replicate that. But we said, hey, our goal is to go in and, get the most amount of money for the home, and also, sell it as quickly as we can. So, we bring in, as a company, we pay for a stager to go in and to meet with the client. So when the agent brings you guys in, the home's set up, it shows great. And then when we build the virtual tour and, do the YouTube videos and the Facebook marketing that we pay for, we know that first impressions are online, and that the photos and the videos and everything that we're doing that's really what's going to drive the customer to say, I want to go see that home in person.
So you guys do spend a lot of time and effort to make sure your properties are looking top notch and that they don't collect dust on the market.
Exactly. There's nothing worse than you're sitting on a property, and that's why I try to tell agents, I'm like, what, I know sometimes clients want to price their home high, but you don't get paid to sit on a property for 6 months. So at the end of the day, putting as much marketing horsepower as we can behind it, that's going to accomplish the goal for the agent by getting the home sold so they get paid, but it's also going to accomplish the goal for the customer as well in making sure that they're maximizing the dollar and getting their home sold as fast as they possibly can.
Sure. So if there's a real estate agent out there maybe watching this that are interested in finding out more about TCT real estate and what you guys have to offer, how do they get a hold of you?
They can call or text me. My phone number is 623-210-0902. That's our mobile. So you can call the office, but if you want to call me directly, that's my number. Or you can email me at doug@tctrealestate, all one word, .com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on this segment of Real Estate Pros, Doug. It was a pleasure having you in the office.
Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Another Seattle-based company, so glad to have one in here. Maybe someday some others. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Thanks again for coming on the show. We'll talk to you guys on the next one.